Mark. I'm District Sales Manager for Associated Wholesale Grocers in Nashville. I'm here today with Tom Schmutz, the owner of Bottom Dollar Foods in Herrin, Illinois. This is a store that we just opened about 6 weeks ago. Tom, how's your store doing?
Doing great, Pat.
Good.
Really glad that we converted it to a cost-plus format.
Good. We're here today to talk about Tom's Costco section. Tom does an unbelievable job with club packs, big packs. And we're going to go through the store and show you some of the items he's carrying and the successes that he's having with those.
Come on in, Pat. I'll show you around.
Let's do it, man.
All right.
Go. All right.
This is the end cap that we use going into our Costco department in our store. We lead with an end cap. Most of the time it's got these two items on it, but we'll switch it out occasionally as new items come in. We just have to carry that much of it because people love to buy it. I guess going into their offices and things like that, instead of buying 3 and 4 cans of Coffee Mate or Folgers, they can come here and just get a can of each and be done with it. A number of years ago, we were looking for ways to increase our average transaction size like any good grocer does. And one of the things that came to mind in the communities that we are in, they were pretty underserved when it came to these big club stores. Our club stores were 50, 60, 70 miles away from our communities. So we made a decision to interview the Costco people out of St. Louis and find out more about their organization. Found out that the way their business philosophy was very similar to ours, so we thought it would be a good relationship. Depending on store size now, we have some stores that have up to 500 SKUs in them at any one time. It's turned out to be a really good relationship. We are now Costco St. Louis's largest customer. It's a hassle on our end, so we'd really like AWG to pick up these items since AWG is already doing business with probably 90% of these vendors. The Costco people have made it as simple as possible, where our store managers order in product 2 to 3 times a month from them through a faxing and emailing type system. They actually pick the product, palletize it, wrap it, and then we show up at their dock with our big truck. They load on the pallets and then we deliver it to our store. So obviously you can see we have expenses in this program. We think it's worthwhile. That's why we continue to do it. But we would love AWG to pick these items up so that we didn't have to go through that process. Our Costco departments are doing somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 6% of total store sales. And obviously, since the dollar ring is so high, it doesn't take a lot of items to go through the register to achieve that. From a gross profit standpoint, our markup in our traditional stores is 25%. Our markup in our cost plus stores, our bottom dollar stores, is right around 8% before the 10% at the registers. So our truck will hold somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 worth of product. With the markup that we're getting, the blended margin between our traditional stores and our cost plus stores, we're going to end up making $5,000 profit on that truckload. So if we're going over there three times a month and can pick up 15 grand, we consider that to be a pretty good relationship.
Tom, when you look at these rings out there, your first thing I think of is this has got to be helping his labor rate. Have you noticed that your labor rate is dropped or is lower since you've gone to the Costco sections?
No, I can't really honestly say that, Pat, because the department's only running 5 or 6% of sales, and we don't break out when a employee is doing a Costco or a big pack department labor, stocking, facing, pricing, or any of those things. So I honestly don't have the data to back that up, but you would think that if you had larger, average price per item was large, that you were going to benefit from that. So the one thing that I really enjoy about the larger sizes is the gross profit pennies, or even in these cases it's dollars that we're able to take to the bank. And when you can measure gross profit dollars, that's a pretty good thing.
You bet. That's what it's all about. As an old meat man, I noticed you had several meat department items out there, frozen and mid-tip. Those items look really exciting. How do they work into your Costco section?
They have about 2,000 standard everyday SKUs that are going to be in that club 52 weeks out of the year. Then they've got another 4,500 SKUs, which they call the treasure hunt items, that are constantly changing. So a lot of that perishable product that you're seeing in our store today might not necessarily be there next time we go to pick up product. So a little bit more of a challenge to manage that because that product is in and out so fast. But we try to duplicate that whole treasure hunt atmosphere, especially in these cost plus stores where you're not necessarily promoting like you would in a traditional store with sale items. People have learned to become loyal to our cost plus stores and know that when they come in there, they're going to find new items, exciting items, cheap items. So those meat items that you have pointed out really play real strong into our plan because they're not necessarily going to be there a month from now. They're going to find them, get excited about them, buy them, and promote it to their neighbors because they don't see it anywhere else, and they certainly don't see it in any of the traditional stores advertising. So we really like to see that stuff. So if AWG gets the chance to expand on the dry grocery, wonderful. But we would also encourage them to take a look at the medium and low temp products because they really add to this whole treasure hunt idea, especially in these cost plus stores.
Tom, what about dating? With the big packs out there, do you run into any issues with dating problems?
We haven't yet, but of course we're using the same method that we would as a normal grocer would. If something looks like it's not moving, we make sure we take it off the list and we don't carry that in the other stores. But it's really not become an issue, mainly because Costco's already managing that for us. You know, they've got 2,000 SKUs where in a regular grocery store we'd have, 25, 30,000 SKUs. So they've already identified these are the best 2,000 SKUs to carry. They're tonnage items, they're high velocity items. So, we haven't had any issues there because they've already kind of cut the teeth on that.
Well, I noticed out there you had several DSD items. I've seen a huge 36-pack with Mountain Dew and Pepsi's. Where does DSD fit into this?
Well, DSD has reacted to it, quite honestly, in the fashion that we're hoping AWG will react to this too. DSD, like Frito-Lay, for instance, once they saw us bringing in these big boxes of snack chips from Costco, they immediately found a way to start carrying that same SKU in their distribution center, and we're able to get that 3 times a week now with our Frito-Lay driver. You mentioned soda, the 36-count Pepsi products, same scenario. I mean, that's not a package that our local Pepsi guy carries because that's exclusive to Costco. But what he's been able to do is figure out how he can get our prices down on the 12s and the 24 packs so we're just as competitive. So we win-win either way with that DSD.
So everybody wins.
Exactly.
And that's a good deal.
It is.
We see a lot of our stores are having dollar sections, huge dollar sections, but at the end of the day, it is still $1. How does that work with what you're doing out there?
Well, that's a great question because in most cases we did not remodel our stores and add aisles to get into the Costco business or the big pack business, so it had to come from somewhere. So when we went through and started doing these resets, I guess we were like any other retailer that was out there, still trying to figure out, is it better to integrate dollar or is it better to keep it separate? And I still don't know what the right answer to that is, but we've tried it both ways. But I know one thing's for sure. I would much rather sell them a $7 Pop-Tart than I would be a $1 Pop-Tart. So we quickly, in the sections that we wanted reset, we cut back on our dollar. We integrated it. It's not segregated. And we cut back on the SKUs and traded it up for these larger dollar-sized Costco items. So that's the experience we've had. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but it's what's worked for us is that we've reset stores, gained sections for Costco by cutting back on some dollar food and quite honestly some of the other sections too that need tweaked as you go through life.
How does the Costco section work into your price perception?
Well, that's an amazing amazing story. It's a little bit like the Pick 5, how it works in the meat department, where you could have Pick 5 ground beef on sale in the ad at $1.99, and your Pick 5 ground beef could be in your your Pick 5 section at $2.49. They're going to walk right by your ad item and buy that Pick 5 item. You see that. I mean, that happens all the time. I'm not quite sure how to identify that. I know if people did the math, they wouldn't necessarily be getting the best bargain when it came to buying that big size. But honestly, I'm not here to have to worry about educating the consumer. They should have got that in grade school. If they want to buy a big size package that's going to allow me to make more gross profit dollars and they spend a little bit more money on it, I'm okay with that.
Tom, you're in a kind of a unique situation here. You have a huge Kroger store literally in your back parking lot. Where does that fit into the Costco section?
Well, that's a great question. Of course, we've got this big Kroger store next to the Herrin store here, and you know we're going to Du Quoin next month,
Yes, sir.
And we've got a big Walmart Supercenter on the parking lot there too. I think that the large pack items, the Costco section, if you will, plays very favorably in creating a point of difference. We're able to offer the customer all of the great things that we do as AWG retailers, plus give them also something that they can't get at Kroger and at Walmart. So we like it, and our customers seem to like it, so it's kind of a small secret weapon in our trick bag.
Well, anything that the customer cannot get at Walmart or Kroger, we like to, Tom. Tom, this is exciting. I want to thank you for taking time to let us come up here and interview you for this. I hope we get this going for you because it is an exciting program.
Tell you what, Pat, it was my pleasure, and I really encourage AWG to take a hard look at getting these items into the warehouse. I can guarantee you that our company will support it, and I would imagine other retailers would too.